Good, 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 good. Shabbat Shalom. We can take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. And whatever we walked in with, hopefully stayed at the door. Because now it's just about Shabbat. Just about. This is real easy. Lie, lie, lie. I think you can handle that one. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome on behalf of our congregational president, Hank Bernstein, and Cantor Brad Hyman, and myself, to all of you, to congregants, friends, and guests, to those in person here in the sanctuary and those joining us on the live stream. It is so wonderful to be with all of you in community as we celebrate Shabbat. To ensure that we are praying as one community tonight, if you're on the live stream, please feel free to comment in the chat, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, introduce yourself. We have a new chat plugin on the website, so hopefully it makes things a little easier. So we'd love to hear if that works for you all. And for all of you here in the sanctuary, you could just turn around and find someone new to greet and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I love all the wonderful conversations. So nice. But we got some candles to bless. We are so excited that tomorrow morning, Sophia Cucinari will become a bat mitzvah. And so we welcome Sophia along with her mom, Stephanie Slapin, to lead us in our Shabbat blessings, beginning first with the candle lighting on page 2. Okay, so do this first.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzifanu להדליק נר של שבת.
And the Shabbat Kiddush can be found on page 5. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam porei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
The next 3 Shabbats are, or Shabbatot, to use the proper plural, are special Shabbats that have additional readings, and they get a special name, and these are leading up to Passover. Can you believe Passover's in only 3 weeks? And so this Shabbat is known as Shabbat Parah. Next week will be Shabbat Chodesh, the Shabbat of the new month, the month of Nisan. And then the Shabbat after that is known as Shabbat Hagadol, the big Shabbat, the great Shabbat, traditionally because that was when the rabbi would give an extra long sermon. Don't worry, that's not for 2 weeks. But this
I'm doing that tonight.
Oh, okay, perfect. Right. Yeah, or the cantor, of course.
Sure.
This Shabbat, Shabbat Parah, is named for a special reading that we add all around the Para Aduma, the red heifer. And it's all about this special sacrifice of the red heifer, which was done in ancient times, meant to purify an Israelite who came into contact with a dead body. Now, thankfully, we do not do sacrifices anymore. And Sophia, you're going to tell us all about that tomorrow morning. I know, this is your wonderful Devar Torah, is all about that wonderful transition away from sacrifices. But the rabbis teach that there's no longer a red heifer. They can't find them anywhere. Some scientists have actually sought to use genetic engineering to create a new one because tradition teaches that when the red heifer appears again, that will be the beginning of ushering in the Messianic age, this time of peace across the world. There's a great South Park episode all about this, by the way. I recommend it. It's a good one. You saw that one? Yeah. Whether we believe in this red heifer or not, and whether it will appear, this portion gives us a little taste of that Messianic age. It gets us thinking, perhaps, about that time. And similarly, so too is Shabbat. Our rabbis teach that Shabbat gives us a taste, just a glimpse of the world as it should be, a place of peace and friendship among all people. And so we take a deep breath and release, turning from the noise of the world to the peace of Shabbat and to that taste of that Messianic age. We continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat singing, beginning first with Yismechu Hashamayim on page 346. Please rise.
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וצעק אל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וצעק אל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. 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 ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, וצעק אל הארץ.
Page 331, the bottom of the page, Shabbat Shalom, Shir Hamalot.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, umevorach. Shabbat Shalom umevorach. Shir Hamalot v'shuv Adonai et Shivat Zion hayinu kecholim. Az yemale schok pinu ulshonenu rina. Az yomru v'agoyim yigdil Adonai la'asoti melech. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
With the joy of a wedding, we continue with Lecha Dodi on pages 20 and 21, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה ולשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה ולשבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה ולשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה ולשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה ולשבת קבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence of the divine. Page 28.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Traditionally, the prayer in between, one of the prayers in between Baruch Hu and Shema, Ma'ariv Aravim, is about transitioning. Transitions from day into night and night into day, and the cycles that our earth goes through. It feels very appropriate in this theme, as tonight we are honoring Transgender Day of Visibility. And I encourage you to read in your program on page 3 a little more about it, and hopefully you'll join us at the special oneg tonight. It feels very appropriate to offer up this beautiful poem, this beautiful prayer by Dubs Weinblatt. Dubs is the Associate Director of Education and Training at Keshet, a national organization that works for the full equality of all LGBTQ Jews and their families in Jewish life. When is Trans Joy? An Affirmation for Transgender Day of Visibility by Dubs Weinblatt. When I'm in spaces that recognize and celebrate transness, when becoming more and more visible to myself makes space and creates possibilities for others to do the same. When I see other people living their truths, when I live my truth, when I remember that my trans joy is different yet deeply connected to yours, when I talk and finally hear myself, when I look in the mirror and finally see myself. Page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
The top of page 39, together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, כמוך באלים אדוני.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Page 46 and following, please rise.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Libnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer, Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rab lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol verachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofe cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memitz umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yihalelucha Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. Continue on page 60 with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
We take moments now for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we will be on page 253 for the Misha Berach, our traditional prayer for healing. As we think about healing. Once again this Shabbat, our hearts still turn to Ukraine and to the people. Earlier today at 1 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Kyiv time, I was able to join a Shabbat evening service on Zoom led by the World Union of Progressive Judaism with rabbis and congregants from all over the globe, led by many of our Ukrainian colleagues, including Rabbi Julia Gris and Rabbi Alexander Duchovny. The service was a mix of Hebrew and English and Russian and Ukrainian, and I was comforted to see colleagues from South Africa, Israel, South America, and across Europe and the United States. We all prayed together for that much-needed healing of the ruined cities, ruined lives, and for all the people of Ukraine. In addition to those thoughts, we also add thoughts of healing to our own loved ones, our friends, our family who are in need of healing this Shabbat. If you are holding someone in your heart tonight in need of healing, I invite you to say their names aloud at this time or to write their names in the comments.
מי שברך אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולרפאותם ולהחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן.
Amen. In addition to thoughts of healing, we have much to celebrate tonight. And as we prepare to sing our blessing of gratitude, Shehechianu, on page 344, we first take a moment to recognize all of those blessings in our lives. And I'll say one, well, I can think of a few. I'll start with, we have a wonderful blessing of Sophia Cuccianati, who tomorrow morning is going to become Bat Mitzvah. We are so excited to celebrate with you. Mazel tov to you, Sophia, and to your mom and your entire family. We are also so blessed and grateful tonight to be honoring International Transgender Day of Visibility. And just to be clear, Transgender Day of Visibility, unlike other holidays where we maybe bring more attention to some of the negative, some of the hate in the world, today we really lift up the wonderful, the joy of our transgender community. And so we're so excited to honor that tonight, and we're so excited to honor those in our community that will be speaking later, to Julian and Monica, and we're really excited. So thank you to all in our community. And I imagine there's probably some more things we're celebrating, and so we'd love to hear it. Please feel free to write something in the chat or shout it out. What do you got, David? Wow. Happy birthday, David. That's a big one.
It's a great start.
Wow, David, what a, since 1928, the Barron family has been a part of this congregation, and it is so wonderful to honor you, David, on that big 80th birthday. Mazel tov, and so happy you're celebrating with us tonight. What else? Anyone else celebrating? Lisa? Wow. Lisa, thank you so much for lifting that up. For those that didn't hear, Lisa got to be with her good friend, Ketanji Brown Jackson. That name might ring a bell. Future Supreme Court Justice, God willing, Ketanji Brown Jackson, at her confirmation hearings. And we are just so wonderful that you were able to take joy in your good friend's joy as well. And anyone else, we got time maybe for one more, anyone else celebrating something tonight? Those are pretty good ones. We might not be able to top that one. So for all of those blessings and so many more, we join together in gratitude.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman Doing this ahead of time. Okay. This seemed to go so much quicker when I have to give the sermon. At least the front half always seems to be that way. That's right, I get to give the sermon. It's true. For hearing normative people, it's a natural thought to associate silence with an absence of sound. The original usage from Latin and eventually Old English implies more easily that there is an abundance of speech. We often question if sound exists or if it's even being produced because we cannot imagine sound without a first-person accounting, like when a tree falls in the forest or the cold void of outer space. And yet, there are poems and music written to describe the silent scream or raging that is present under the surface, and none of them seem to adequately capture the moment or produce the desired effect, like that first instance that we become aware of silence. In fact, silence as a dramatic element can be incredibly effective, as in the way an orchestra uses dynamics to establish tension and release. This week, we're finishing up our look into Parashat Shemini in the early part of Leviticus, and it goes from instructional to tragic in one chapter. Moses, Aaron, and all of the priests are trying to learn the correct way and proper sequence for offering a selection of sacrifices. Now, for many of us, the thought of harming animals in the hope that their death might somehow bring reward to us in any form is seemingly inexcusable. In the defense of our ancestors, I will state that it was through their knowledge and attention to all of the rules and regulations of both how and how not to live that gave them purpose, and demonstrated their devotion. It was this acknowledgement that there is always something greater that inspired improvement. Moses, Aaron, and their family of priests are taking great care in understanding the order of sacrifice when at some point Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Avihu, reached their limit of patience with the lesson. For reasons not clear, they broke rank and sequence and attempted to raise up the offering reserved only for the high priest at the improper time, using methods that were not requested and without consideration for what they had just moments prior been instructed to do. The punishment by God was swift and final, as Aaron's two sons were killed by the very same fire that they were trying to control, and their bodies somehow were not consumed. The response from Aaron at what had just befallen him and his sons was described as Yidom, and often translated into English as silence. In the older JPS translation from 1917, it is still troublesome, as it writes, Aaron held his peace. The word Yidom means stillness, or an absence of movement, a calmness, or tacit. One wonders if any parent witnessing the death of a child would be still or peaceful, and yet we are told Aaron was silent. I would offer that Aaron appeared that way, but was very far from stillness or silence. The word Yidom shares its root with dam, or blood, and Aaron's blood was most likely boiling. I imagine that instant just prior to the Big Bang, when every molecule that would ever exist was compressed into stillness. That was the pressure that Aaron was feeling. And the release of that energy is still being felt by all of Aaron's descendants, directly to you and me right now. But we have grown distant from being able to identify what it is about the story that disturbs us most. Was it the sacrifice? Is it the example made of Aaron's sons? Is it God's active role in all of it? Is it the example made of Aaron's sons? Is it the real silence that comes from never having the benefit of Nadav and Avihu being able to explain themselves? The lesson is reinforced in this week's corresponding Haftarah message, taken from the second book of Samuel, chapter 6. Of course, the pairing of Haftarah portions comes from a time when Torah was prohibited from being studied, and our sages looked to the verses from our prophets that carried the similar theme. This week, we learned of Uzzah, who is not from the tribe of Levi. Levi was the only tribe permitted to touch the holiest of items, and therefore chosen for priestly service. Uzzah happens to notice that the Ark of the Covenant is slipping from the shoulders of the ones who were tasked with bearing the weight of the ark through the desert. And in a moment that he was determined to do anything to keep that ark from falling, he reached out but was killed by God for stepping out of line beyond his chosen service and task. It is certainly a moment filled with guilt and pain, and demonstrates how our role in this world, our personal part to play, should not be diminished by anyone, least of all ourselves. We need to understand how our personal role can help change the results. In a common trust exercise that is performed at summer camps and corporate retreats all over the world, an individual's total weight is to be levitated by every other person, contributing their 2 fingers, or perhaps 4 if both hands are used, and to lift that person to their destination. Some are confident that it will work because they have seen it done before, but still choose to participate somehow less enthusiastically. And perhaps The first few attempts are met with failure, as the trusting person is awkwardly dropped to the ground. Others with real doubts are not encouraged by the first attempts, and even worse, they're made to feel even more distant. Finally, when everyone understands their role, their place in supporting the weight, as well as the confidence of the person and in the person standing directly next to them, the individual is transported to their designated spot. There is an element of belief involved for any of this to work. Sometimes the belief comes through a heavy dose of understanding physics or math, and sometimes the belief comes through seeing the strength in community and what it can do to elevate most things. Tonight, we are thinking about the Transgender Day of Visibility that will be taking place on March 31st. Founded in 2009 by Rachel Crandall from Michigan, the day recognizes that prior to its existence, the only other day elevating this community was a Transgender Day of Remembrance. Signed into proclamation just last year by President Biden, TDOV is an international celebration of achievements and the remarkable individuals who are most worthy of recognition. For too long, many people have been closed-minded or indoctrinated to view any relationship between anyone other than a man and a woman as strange fire. And what about the important strength that a person gains when they best understand themselves and how living in this world in its truest representation of that self is both desired and encouraged? Our congregation well understood to be thoughtful as a home for everyone. Our vision states that, quote, "We who live within different family constellations, who are of all abilities, gender identities, sexual orientations, races, and generations, we entered the synagogue to celebrate, to learn, to laugh, to heal, to pray, and to challenge ourselves, and to connect with others about the deepest questions of our lives." End quote. We don't see these fires as being strange. Rather, we understand that every act of giving that starts from a place inside and that is complemented with great respect and great love is most worthy and most high. The 1989 debut album release by the Indigo Girls was a large success, and the title track happens to be Strange Fire. It can be found in your Shabbat handout. The lyrics challenge religious rigidity, false leaders, and the will of a God that doesn't accept responsibility for creating all varieties. The song reminds us that this is a message of love, love that moves from the inside out and never grows tired. So I come to you with strange fire. Come to you with strange fire. I make an offering of love. The incense of my soul is burned by the fire in my blood. I come with a softer answer to the questions that lie in your path. I want to harbor you from the anger, find a refuge from the wrath. This is a message of love, love that moves from the inside out, love that never grows tired. Come to you with strange fire. Mercenaries of the shrine, now who are you to speak for God? With haughty eyes and lying tongues and hands that shed innocent blood. Now who delivered you to the power to interpret Calvary? You gamble away our freedom to gain your own authority. Find another state of mind. You know it's time we all learn to grab hold. Strange fire burns with the motion of love. When you learn to love yourself, you will dissolve all the stones that are cast. You will learn to burn the icing sky and to melt the waxen mask. I said to have the gift of true release. This is a piece gonna take you higher. Oh, I come to you with my offering. I bring you strange fire. This is a message of love. Love that moves from the inside out. Love that never grows tired. I come to you with strange fire. I come to you with strange fire.
Amen. Continue in our service on pages 282, followed by 287 with Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Yesh kochavim, there are stars up above. So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes yahrzeit for Maddie Lazarus Abrams, Isaac Alkus, Charlotte Amble, Karen Jean Andrews, Charles E. Asherman, Robert Austrian, Gustav J. Axelrod, Libby Barkin, Mary Beck, Esther F. Berg, Mitchell Bernstein, Edward Bloom, Samuel W. Brand, Rebecca Ethel Bunkin, Richard Burt, Frank I. Cohen, Anna R. Cohn, Morris Cohn, Melvin Cooper, Blanche Crane, Leon Crane, Maurice Dubinsky, Anna E. Friedenberg, Anna Fried, Max Friedman, Clara Friedman, George T. Gainey, Norman Jerome Genoy, Herbert Ginsberg, Catherine G. Hahn, Marvin R. Halbert, Aurelia Rosenau Hess, Lily Anathan Hirsch, Emmett Jaubin, Abraham Jonas, Gussie Cabico, Amelia Katz, Kitty S. Katz, Doris Daniel Klein, Betty W. Lagner, Rhoda Lempert, William Lichten, Michael Lynn, Morton Mayman, Kaufman Menko, Arlene Wolin Margulies, Clinton O. Mayer, Joan Kahn Miller, Rose Watson Morgan, Rosalie Moskowski, Susan Sheeran Moss, Lucy M. Mostert, Samuel Netsky, Betty New, Sylvia Stern Oppenheimer, Julia Simpson Rabb, Deborah Charleston Raddick, Charles Rahm, Harry Rosenthal Jr., Helen Rosenzweig, Flora Gabriel Schwartz, Sally Shore, Ruth B. Spiegel, Gladys Sternow, Louise Strauss, Sidney Strober, Claire B. Stupp, Marjorie Sondheim, Charles Gertzley Sunstein, Johanna Marks Tannenbaum, Usher Trachtenberg, Marjorie Walzer, Roberta Joy Wasserman, Isidore Welsh, Robert Zub West, Lillian Sloan Wider, Gertrude Wilson, Reverend Dr. Isaac Mayer Wise, Benjamin Wolf, Jan Zinman. And we add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts in these most recent days, for whom we're observing Shiloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Erwin C. Saft, Amy Maltzman. If you are observing yahrzeit or Shiloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to write their names in the comments or to speak their names aloud at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yurtei v'amlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uv'yomei chon, v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam olmei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And let us say, Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru,
We wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. If this is your first time with us and you'd like to know more about the congregation, we hope you'll introduce yourself to the wonderful Stephen Scher, our membership director, who is waving right there, and he'd love to welcome you and tell you more. And please join us after service for a very special oneg in the community room in honor of Transgender Day of Visibility, where we're going to get to hear from some members of the congregation about their experiences.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious unto us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.